Greg Hands, it's a pretty sobering programme we're putting together this morning. We've heard a prediction already that Scottish lives could be lost as a result of the cost of living crisis that's looming. Ian Blackford has said today that the money you're offering to try and take the sting out of this is not going to touch the sides. Doesn't your government need to do more than it's proposing?
Well, I disagree with that. We are doing a lot. There's a £350 package for most households, with Barnett consequentials, £290 million going to Scotland. So there's already a lot being done. On top of that, we've got winter fuel payments, the warm home discount, cold weather payments, household support fund. You know, there's already a lot going in from the UK government. We totally recognise the difficulties that many households will be facing with a rise in prices. In terms of the gas prices and energy prices, of course, those are global prices. The UK is not immune from the rise in worldwide energy prices, but we actually are doing a lot to make sure that households are in a better position.
There's a lot to get into here. I want to come to the global stuff in a minute. But first of all, let's look at the Barnett consequentials, the £290 million that's coming to Scotland. The fact is, Scotland has a very specific issue here. It is colder, it is darker. A lot of people live in more remote areas, further away from the places that the power is generated, and it costs you. You pay for the transportation of that power to your home. So it is more expensive, let's say, to run a house in Caithness than it is in Kent. On that basis, shouldn't Scotland be getting more than just the sum that you've calculated through Barnett, more than the £290 million?
Well, there's certain things, actually, in the whole way the energy system works that benefit Scotland. For example, being closer to the sources of power generation make bills, in some cases, cheaper, because the transmission costs of that energy, for example, from renewables, offshore wind in Scotland, will be lower for Scottish consumers than they would be for
we could get into that, the plant in the northeast of Scotland that you didn't give the go-ahead for in a minute. But let's look back at some of Michael Matheson's demands. He was saying you could expand the use of the warm home discount scheme. And he says, crucially, the £200 loan, which is a word your government isn't using, the loan that you're proposing to give to people to take the edge off their energy bills, should be a grant. It should not be paid back. What about that?
Well, look, we have to do also what is fiscally responsible. We know that the UK government, we spent a lot of money during the pandemic on economic support and support for households. The £200 that people will get from October is designed to assist people into the next winter to pay for those bills, and will be clawed back over a 5-year period. So that's quite a long period of time that people will have a chance to repay that.
There's another assessment coming in October for the price cap, isn't there? There's a suggestion bills could go up by another £400 in the autumn. Is that right?
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, the price cap is set by Ofgem, the regulator.
Yeah, but £200 doesn't seem like much now. Imagine bills go up by another £400 just when that money's kicking in.
Well, look, I mean, that is speculation. We'll have to see. The price cap looks at prices over a 6-month period. That period has yet to begin. So let's have a look at that when it comes. Look, what we have done is made sure that the support is there for households from October. We've also done things like raise the national living wage from £8.91 to £9.50 an hour. Somebody on the national living wage, that gives them an extra £1,000 from this April. So there's a lot of important positive changes coming in as well.
You've also cut universal credit and so on. But look, let's look at your suggestion. I mean, you're saying this is an international crisis. Of course it is. France has capped its bills increase to 4.1%. We're paying 54%. Germany has scrapped the green surcharges on bills, the stuff your colleague David Cameron referred to as the green crap. Why can't we get rid of that? Greece has put up the minimum wage. You're saying it's also cut property tax. Michael Gove, I was seeing yesterday, promised in 2016 that if we voted to leave the EU, VAT on domestic fuel bills would be scrapped. Where's that gone?
Well, look, I mean, we are doing, if you look at what the UK government is doing, I think compares favourably with the average of European countries. It's more available there, for example, than the Germany support package. So I think actually looking at it overall, look at all these things that we've been doing, With the in the case of England, the cut in council tax, I realise that's devolved, and that comes through in the Barnett consequentials.
Where's the cut in VAT on fuel bills that Michael Gove promised if Brexit vote went through?
Well, look, a cut in VAT is very, very untargeted.
Well, why did he promise it?
It would benefit disproportionately.
Why did he? That's all fine. Why did he? He promised it.
Well, look, I mean, that was a question better put to the Vote Leave campaign.
Yeah, there was a lot they said, wasn't there, in the run-up to that vote that hasn't happened.
Well, but now this is the UK government. The UK government, not a campaign, 6 years later. Eh?
Well, it's the same people, isn't it? Look, do you think what we need to have at the moment, actually, and this refers back to that conversation, I suspect, is trust. Trust in the people that are holding the levers, trust in the people that are running the country. Do you think we have a Prime Minister at the moment who can be trusted with all of this in a time of crisis?
Well, I think it's a Prime Minister who's been delivering. You know, we have delivered the fastest growth rate in the G7 this past year, predicted to be the fastest economic growth rate this year. We have delivered a huge rollout on vaccinations, one of the best rates of the booster vaccination. We've delivered on getting to net zero, COP26 in Glasgow. We've delivered. The Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has delivered on multiple fronts. This is the most important
Your
thing.
Scottish colleagues don't agree with you on that. They think he should go. They think he's the wrong person to have in power. What do you think about that?
Well, look, I talk all the time with Douglas Ross and others of my Scottish MPs in Westminster, MSPs. We have a really, really good relationship in terms of energy, which is my brief.
Should he just shut up? Should he just shut up about the Prime Minister and pull his neck in?
No, look, I mean, it's perfectly fine for the Scottish Conservatives to have a different view on certain things.
Is it? Is it fine to have a Scottish Conservative Party who think the wrong Prime Minister is in number 10? How do they campaign on that in an election? What's going to happen in May up here?
Well, look, I think the Scottish Conservatives will do very well in May this year. I think the SNP Scottish government has been failing, not least in areas like energy. You know, their opposition to nuclear, their failure to support oil and gas. They're pursuing a very anti-Scotland policy when it comes to energy. So I think our chances are actually very good, particularly.
Should the Prime Minister come up here and campaign ahead of the May elections?
Well, look, I think we've got plenty of campaigning forces on the ground.
You don't need the Prime Minister up here. That wouldn't help.
Well, look, I think we've got a fantastic campaigning arm already in Scotland, Douglas Ross and his team, and I've got every confidence in their ability to deliver a very, very good result for the Conservatives in May.
Would you come up and help?
Oh, definitely.
All right, maybe we'll see you then. Listen, thank you very much indeed for your time, Greg Hands.